think about the smartest person you know. Maybe it is you. Now ask yourself this. Are they happy? Really happy? Not successful, not accomplished, not admired. Happy. Because here is something almost nobody talks about. The people who think the deepest, who see the most, who understand the world better than almost anyone around them, those are often the same people lying awake at 3 in the morning, unable to explain why something feels missing. And no one ever taught them why. Today we are going to talk about that. The hidden psychology behind why highly intelligent people struggle to find happiness. Not because they are broken, but because the very thing that makes them extraordinary makes certain parts of life genuinely harder. If you have ever felt like your mind is both your greatest gift and your heaviest burden, this one is for you. Let's start with something that might reframe everything. Happiness is not a thinking problem. Most highly intelligent people treat it like one. They analyze it, they research it, they build frameworks for it, they read the books, they understand the neuroscience, they can explain dopamine and serotonin and the hedonic treadmill better than most therapists. And then they lie down at night and still feel empty. Because understanding happiness and experiencing happiness are two completely different things. And the mind that is brilliant at the first one is often terrible at the second. Psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi spent decades studying what actually makes people feel good. What he found was that happiness comes most reliably from a state he called flow. Total absorption, presence, the moment when you are so inside something that your thinking mind finally goes quiet. And here is the painful irony. The more analytical your mind, the harder it is to get there. The very thing that makes you intelligent keeps pulling you out. If you want to know if your brain is doing this to you, keep an eye on these 5 clear signals. Sign 1. The mind that sees everything cannot turn itself off. Highly intelligent people do not experience the world the same way. Their brains are running more connections, more simultaneously than most. Research from the University of New Mexico found that more intelligent brains often show more widespread activation, more pathways firing at once. What does that feel like from the inside? It feels like noise. It feels like sitting in a quiet room and still hearing 12 conversations at once. Watching a movie, but also critiquing the cinematography, noticing the plot holes, thinking about something that happened years ago, and also what you need to do tomorrow. And also somehow worrying about a conversation from last Tuesday. The inability to be present is not a character flaw. It is a neurological reality. And it makes simple pleasures feel strangely out of reach. The things that make most people happy. A sunny afternoon, a good meal, a conversation with a friend. The highly intelligent person is often somewhere else entirely. Even when they are right there. Even when part of them desperately wants to just be there. Sign 2. They feel things more intensely. And that goes both ways. Polish psychologist Kazimierz Dabrowski spent years studying gifted individuals. What he found was that high intelligence often comes with a heightened sensitivity to everything, not just ideas, emotions, other people's pain, the weight of the world. Highly intelligent people feel joy more acutely than average, but they also feel disappointment more acutely, injustice more acutely, loss more acutely. They cannot watch the news without it landing somewhere deep. They cannot hear about a stranger's tragedy and simply move on. They absorb things that other people let slide right off. And the world was not built for people who feel at that frequency. So, what do? They learn to manage it, to keep it at arm's length with analysis and irony and a very convincing appearance of being fine. But managing pain is not the same as being free of it. Sign 3. They set standards that happiness cannot survive. Highly intelligent people are often their own worst critics, not in a humble way, in a relentless way. No achievement ever quite lands, no success feels real for long, no moment of happiness arrives without a voice already looking for what is wrong with it. Psychologists call this cognitive perfectionism. A study published in Gifted Child Quarterly found that intellectually gifted adults
reported harsher self-evaluation and less satisfaction with their own performance. Even when that performance was objectively exceptional, the bar keeps rising, and happiness, which requires a moment of genuine acceptance, keeps getting pushed just out of reach. Sign 4, they see through things, and that is lonelier than it sounds. They see the patterns behind people's behavior. They notice the subtext in conversations. They recognize when someone is performing versus when someone is real. They can feel the difference between a real laugh and a polite one. And that sounds like a superpower until you realize what it costs. It means most social interactions feel a little hollow, a little rehearsed. Small talk is genuinely painful, not because they are antisocial, but because what they actually want, real depth, real honesty, real connection, is genuinely rare. Research from the London School of Economics found that people with higher intelligence reported lower life satisfaction the more frequently they socialized. The researchers suggested that highly intelligent people are oriented toward meaning in ways that casual interaction simply does not fulfill. They are not lonely because no one likes them. They are lonely because they are waiting for a conversation that most people never have. Sign 5, they know too much to pretend. Once they have seen the complexity of something, they cannot simplify it back. Once they understand how fragile certainty is, how much of what people believe is constructed, they carry that weight constantly. Optimism for most people comes partly from not looking too closely, from a natural tendency to believe things will work out. Highly intelligent people often cannot do that. They see the worst possibilities clearly. They understand probability. They know that the things people say will be fine have been wrong before. And so they live with an awareness that is both a gift and an exhausting, relentless companion. Here is what all of this means. Being highly intelligent does not make you immune to happiness. It makes the path different, narrower in some places, but not closed. The research on this is actually hopeful. Studies on well-being in high-ability adults consistently find that the ones who thrive have one thing in common. They stopped trying to think their way to happiness and started building it differently, through meaning rather than pleasure, through depth rather than breadth, through accepting the intensity of their own experience rather than fighting it. Your mind is not the problem. It never was. It is just asking for something more specific than most people need. More depth, more honesty, more meaning, more moments where the thinking finally goes quiet and something real gets in. You are not too much. You are just built for something most people cannot see yet. If this felt true somewhere inside you, save this video. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. Next time, we're going to talk about the people who never ask for help. The ones who are everyone else's first call, but have no one to call themselves. And no one ever notices.